Yolz, and welcome back to my channel. I am absolutely feeling this upgrade in quality. Are you feeling it? Because I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. So yesterday on Instagram I asked you guys to shoot me some questions regarding all things career. So it could be YouTube related, university related, or even corporate related questions, and I got quite a few. I got about 90 questions. Most of them thankfully are very similar regarding me quitting my 9 to 5. Some require advice, generally, you know, as a graduate, what to expect when you get into uni and that sort of thing. And of course the standard YouTube questions: do we make money, how much do we make, blah blah blah. Those questions came through, and I think I'll answer hopefully about 15 or 20 in this video. I'm trying not to make this video too long, but so on. So let's get straight into this video. If you guys do enjoy it, you know what to do. Give it a massive thumbs up, comment down below, and let me know if I answered your question. And lastly, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I love you guys so much. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Hey there. It's Yolz channel.
How do you handle the uncertainty of not having a stable monthly income? As I can imagine, not every month is the same. So obviously here on YouTube we don't get paid the same amount every single month in my AdSense account, and so with brand deals as well, some come, some don't. So what I've done personally to prepare is save for the year. Like I've saved a year in advance of a salary where I'm paying myself every single month like a set amount, so that I can pay my mortgage and I can pay for my car and my insurance. So that's how I handle that. I don't like the element of surprise when it comes to finances. I'm very much like pedantic when it comes to making ends meet and preparing ahead for that. So yeah, and that's how I prepare. Save. You're always going to have annual financial goals. You're always going to save. Do you ever miss corporate? No, not at all. I don't even think about corporate anymore. Would I ever go back to corporate? And the answer is maybe, but not corporate in the sense of exactly where I came from. So not in commercial property, not working for a firm or a bank, or you know, any of the stuff that I've done before. Nothing like that. No investment analyst kind of work, no property analyst kind of work. None of that. I wouldn't go back. But I think I do see myself going back to a 9 to 5 of some sort. One that involves YouTube or social media or any of this, like anything that's in this space. Definitely, especially now that we're moving into a world that's more digital. I see myself consulting one day. I'm in my final year of varsity and I'm feeling anxious about working. Is there a hectic adjustment between uni and work? And the truth is, yes, there's a major adjustment. Just like you adjusted from first year, comparing it back to matric, that was quite an adjustment for me personally. I think, to be honest with you, just like university did not prepare us, just like high school did not prepare us for university, university doesn't fully prepare us for the corporate world. It's more cutthroat, to be honest with you. You have to prove yourself, especially if you are a person of color, working in a space where you are one of the only people, and if you are a woman in the workplace. There's still very much, you know, a bit of tension, and you still have to crack through that ceiling of proving yourself. And before you even get promoted, or even you become a second thought to other people, you have to lift your hand up more, you have to stand out more, you have to do a lot more things, and that alone is adjustment. Besides the fact that every organization has got its own culture, you have to adjust to that. Every organization has got its own expectations in terms of working hours, in terms of how they perceive you, in terms of how people are in general. You might find yourself in an organization where there's just older people and you're the only youngster there, and that's it's a totally different ballgame. Because I've been in a place like that where I was one of the only young people, and yes, I can promise you it's not easy conditioning the minds of the elderly or those who are older than us. I'm talking about like 10, 20, not even 10 year, 20-year gaps between us when it comes to changing the environment, so making suggestions about things that may actually improve your organization, but people are just rigid in their ways. And yeah, it's quite an adjustment, to be honest with you. I'd say to stand out, just keep your head down when you need to, be very proactive with ideas, and lift your hand up when it's necessary creativity, take initiative, always try and think out the box, and always try and think 2 steps ahead of your manager. Umuhle, we love you too. What did you study and where? I studied finance and investment at the University of the Western Cape. I've completed matric with a bachelor's, and I took a gap year in hope of finding my purpose or career. How do I know what's for me? What is your why? What is your purpose? What keeps you going? I mean, I can't really answer how you can find your purpose, but you sort of know what gets you going. What is that one thing that you, when you're doing it, you feel like I'm in my element, I am in exactly where I'm supposed to be, I am doing what I know keeps my heart beating and it gets me going. This is what I'd wake up to do every single day. As absurd as that may sound, and as big as the dream may be, that thing, that is it. That's your why, and that's how you find your purpose. And then the what is obviously the career path that you think you should take, depending on your why is. For me personally, I'm gonna make an example. I love people, I love media, and I also love speaking. So here I am on YouTube, I am speaking to people, and this is a form of media that I'm using to channel this love of mine. So there you go, I've got the people that I need. I am in the media, social media industry, and I am obviously speaking, which is a passion of mine. I love public speaking, I love emceeing, I love, you know, you guys know that. So that's my why, this is my element. How long did it take you before you felt comfortable in front of the camera? I think it took me about 4 months of consistently posting on YouTube and always having like a weekly video, sitting down talking. And the more I did it, the more I saw myself like relaxing a lot more. And also I got the most comfortable when I didn't have to think about the 100 people that are watching this video. I only have to think of one person. That could be anybody. It could be my mom, could be my sister, could be my friends, it could be anybody, honestly. Even if you don't have a person in mind, just think of one person and you'll be less nervous than the thought of 100 or 2,000 people watching your video. Amazing question. Have you forged any of the principles you learned in university into your YouTube career? Work smart, not too hard. I was part of a study group, and we studied when we needed to study and even when we didn't need to study, so when we could study. And I think that's also how we got our A's, and we were really brilliant. Like, even if I say so myself, for my second year, my first year was a little too wild, but anyway, from my second year onwards, I just learned that you don't need to constantly be hitting hard at the books. Find your technique, find what works for you when it comes to studying, and go with that and you will succeed. So in terms of YouTube, I've kind of found my niche, I found my space and what works for me here on YouTube, where I feel most comfortable. And I found that I'm seeing more growth now, not only with just numbers but as a person as well, just finding me, even with friendships as well, actually in everything, even at work, the way I got promoted when I was in full-time work, finding your own uniqueness, that sweet spot that you have that no one else has, becomes that selling point for somebody else, and people buy into that, people fall in love with that. And if you push more of that than anything else, any of your other flaws, and you're able to work with that, you will pass. Just like I aced those tests and those exams and those assignments, through allowing myself to learn about my study techniques, I've now implemented that directly onto YouTube, finding what makes Yolanda work. What is it that people fall in love with when it comes to Yolanda, and working with that through all my videos. And I think, yeah, I think I've implemented it quite well. How did you survive uni? Okay, so I kind of mentioned this. In my first year, I was a bit of a wildish child. I was part of the popular group. Well, they probably don't think they're popular, but the girls that I hung out with were a little bit more popular than most girls. And I was perceived as, you know, that girl, Nami and Papai. In fact, my whole identity was skewed. People didn't even know I was black, blah, blah, blah. Some people, anyway, I don't want to go into that one. That's a video for another day, a story time if you guys want to. Long story short, I had to ditch some of my friends very quickly in first year, once I started realizing that my marks were dropping that way as my popularity level was going that way. So yeah, otherwise I wouldn't have survived. Come second year, I changed courses from accounting to finance and investment, and I met a couple of friends who were very focused, and they worked, in my opinion they worked hard, but in their opinion they were working smart. And the more I got to hang out with them, I saw what they meant. So again, it was the same thing of just finding what works for you when it comes to studying, learning what best works for you in terms of study technique, and going for that and continually doing that whenever you're studying. So I got to master that, and I started getting A's, and that's how I survived varsity in a nutshell. From second year right up until my final year, I was getting really good marks. I mean, if I was complaining about a mark, it would be like a C. Okay, so that's how I survived varsity. Thankfully I got really good friends, and of course Jesus had my heart. How long can you recommend someone to stay in an unpaid internship? Me personally, I would say do not settle for an unpaid internship, but there are opportunities out there that you find yourself thinking, you know what, it's worth the sacrifice. I think 3 months is very long with being unpaid. Hopefully by unpaid you mean like they're not giving you a salary, but they are giving you a stipend, because you still need to get a taxi and get to work, or a bus and get to work, or even if you have a car, you still need to pour petrol in that and get to work. So I'm hoping you're talking about no salary, but you're getting some sort of stipend. For me, if you're not being paid at all, I'd rather honestly work in a call center while I'm waiting for a job that actually pays. I don't think it's worth staying in an unpaid internship, even if you're learning a whole lot of things and these people look like it's not promising. But if you are finding yourself in a situation where it's worth the sacrifice, it's only 3 months or so, and you're seeing yourself growing and they are promising you a stable position where they will be paying you a set salary, then yeah, stick around. But if it's none of that, then babes, hamba, please. What is the corporate world like for black females in Cape Town? It's very, very difficult. You have to work 3 times as hard just to have half of what your white counterpart has. And I'm sorry I'm saying this here on this video, but that's how Cape Town corporate made me feel. And by Cape Town corporate, I'm talking about like the big companies in Cape Town that have white, older, male dominated firms. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. Do you think in our day and age acquiring multiple qualifications is worth it? Yes and no, depending on the industry. There are some industries where you actually don't need like 50 qualifications. My younger brother has got his master's degree, and he's working in the artificial intelligence environment, and an environment where he needs like analytical mind and like super duper smart people kind of minds. So his master's has worked for him. For me personally, I think now that I look back, coming towards my social media career, I don't think I needed to study at all. In fact, if anything, I wish I studied marketing, which is what I wanted from the beginning, and just that, nothing else. No dragging. I could have even done a 2-year marketing course for that matter. And then there are some careers where like you need to be a professor or a lecturer, where you have to study, and multiple qualifications could possibly help. But I think you can just gauge depending on the type of career it is. I don't think everyone needs a master's degree. I don't think I mean, I was earning more in my previous corporate job than people who had more qualifications than me. Do you miss anything about your 9 to 5? Maybe the money. I don't know. I don't really miss much of it, but I mean, just the stability of knowing Guti, you don't have to worry about a thing. I was earning quite comfortably. I miss the people. Honestly, I'm such a people's person. You guys, I used to even sing happy birthday to almost everyone, most of the people that I liked on their birthdays, until it became an expectation, until I got emails, you know, telling me that someone in someone else's team has got a birthday, can I come sing? But anyway, I was that person who just tried to cheer people up, and yeah, I'm a people's person, man. Tips on being consistent and staying motivated here on YouTube. I've always loved YouTube, money or not, I'll be honest with you, and that's always kept me motivated. In terms of consistency, that's a different question because it's difficult, life happens. But now, obviously, because it's my full-time job, I'm motivated because I need to see my AdSense account improve every single month. I'm being brutally honest with you guys. Since having come back to YouTube, being very, very consistent, as in every single almost every day nowadays. Every 3 days or so there's a video. I've been seeing the results. My AdSense account is showing it, my stats are showing it, and that's a good thing. So that's what helps me, you know, keep my consistency. I think it also gets easier over time, having a schedule, putting things down on paper, and from a practical perspective, keeping yourself accountable for everything that you write down on paper. So if you do a content calendar and you say, I'm going to post 3 videos every single week, you hold yourself accountable for that, and that's enough, should be enough at least, to keep you motivated and to help you stay consistent here on YouTube. Set your goals and aim to reach them one step at a time. So make sure that if you've got a long-term goal, you have short to medium-term goals and ways on how you're going to reach your long-term goals. Please give a brief update on how you've been doing since you left your job. Can y'all see how I've been doing? I am very, very happy. I'm satisfied. I am fulfilled. So that's the brief update on how I am doing. Financially, I'm still very good, if that's what you're also asking. Did you find it hard to get a job after uni? I'm kind of struggling. Thank you. Actually, to be honest with you, I was rejected by most of my applications in my final year. Very sad. I had the marks, but people just didn't like me, I suppose. And I only got a good interview, a really good interview, in December of my final year. So I was done with my final exams and I was working at Amazon, the call center, in December, just holding, you know, my little vacay job. And boom, I got a call from where I worked, which was Nedbank Private Wealth. I got the interview and all I knew was, if I can just get an interview, I'm gonna kill it and I'm gonna get that job. And that's exactly what happened. Fit is key in corporate. So yeah, look for organizations that you think, you know, share the same values as you, and they have similar things that you believe in, that you think, you know, I could fit in here and this could fit in my sort of environment. This is for me. So yeah, that's my advice. But in terms of finding it hard, I think it wasn't that hard, because I did have friends who found it much harder. My husband, in fact, was unemployed for a good year before he got employment after graduating. My friends as well found it hard. Some got their jobs only after 3 months after graduating or so. So it's a difficult place, this job market thing. But just keep trying and look for organizations that you think will be the right fit for you. Hey sis, you promised us a video on YouTube, all things property. Okay, so this video is coming. I did film it and it was just a flop. It was just a flop, so I'm gonna try and film it again. Side note, your side note. How can one grow their channel and gain subscribers? I started my channel 2 weeks ago and tough shem. Well, you started your channel 2 weeks ago, babes. It's not tough at all. It's only been 2 weeks. My question to you is, how many people have you told about your channel? Have you advertised it on all your social media platforms? Have you gone ham with letting people know every single day that you've posted that video? Have they watched it? What do they think about that video? Let the whole family know. Make sure that your first 50 views are the people that you know, the people that are around you, because the algorithm has become much more tighter and tougher here on YouTube. It's harder for people to find channels these days. It's become a more highly saturated market, not in SA though, but around the world. And if you are not putting your channel on blast on your Facebook, on your Instagram, on your Twitter, then people are not going to find you. So that's one way of growing, especially if you are new here. How to gain subscribers? Call to action, call to action, call to action. I'm always saying, please subscribe if you haven't already. That is not me just saying the same line every time I'm posting a video. No, that is me calling for action for somebody who's watching and they may have liked what they saw and I want them to stick around. So call for action. There are people who come and watch my channel all the time. Did they click subscribe? No. And that one day they think, oh yeah, you know what, I'm actually not even subscribed. I'm always having to type Yolz channel just to see if you've posted new videos. I never get notifications. Oh wow, I'm not subscribed. So call to action, call to action. Let people know, tell them to subscribe, even those you run into at work. If you are fine with sharing the fact that you've got a channel in corporate, say to people, I've got a channel. So yeah, that's one small way. And then overall, how to grow it. Consistency here on YouTube is key. Casey Neistat said just keep uploading when he reached his first 3 million subscribers, and I've taken that advice and I've made it my own. So just keep uploading. let people know, and also of course over time aim to make a better video every single time you upload. Can one depend financially solely on YouTube? Around the world, maybe in the USA and the UK, yeah, probably. Here in South Africa, no. Our AdSense account is, I mean, at least mine, I can't depend on just my YouTube ads income. No, it's not enough, definitely not. So that answers that question. I definitely cannot financially depend solely on YouTube for my income. Is it possible to blog part-time and still make it big? Yes, I do know some bloggers who do blog part-time and they are making good money. What advice would you give someone who wants to start a YouTube channel but they've only got a smartphone? Start with what you have, babes. You will improve over time. Trust me, that smartphone is going to turn into a great camera one day, and you're going to be more motivated anyway to get better quality equipment over time. If you've already got a channel going, you've already got an audience rooting for you, even if it's just 30 people, even if it's just 50 people, it's 50 people that you wouldn't otherwise have reached anyway. How did you know that the corporate world isn't for you and that YouTube was meant for you? I had a lot of mornings where I just could not wake up and I couldn't justify why I was doing what I was doing. So the moment you're feeling like you're not living anymore, yo, wow, I'm already going into depressed mode. I'm going in my feelings. Yeah, that feeling, you just know, man. You know when you don't fit in. You know that this is not the space for you. And yeah, the moment you just have numerous mornings of fighting with yourself and trying to force yourself out of bed to go and work for somebody else, that moment, that's when you know this is not for you. In terms of YouTube, I started my channel back in 2012 or 2013, and I knew back then that this is what I wanted to do. I was just very slow at like actually doing something about it. And then in 2015, when I was frustrated in corporate, I used YouTube as an outlet to channel my energy and establish this thing, you know, where an audience existed behind this camera. So yeah, I think I knew back then that this was for me. Is it possible to live a sustainable life working as a content creator? Yes, it is. I think there's a lot of creators nowadays, even here in South Africa, who are full-time content creators. So definitely, I think the key thing is establishing your brand, getting a good audience with great engagement, and obviously establishing a good relationship with a lot of brands depending on which side of the industry you're in, whether it's hair, beauty, tech, whatever it is, where you build long-term relationships with these brands and make it sustainable for you over time. So yeah, you can definitely live a sustainable life. And I think the key thing is not having one stream of income. You have to have multiple streams of income if you are a content creator to really make a good living. Does YouTube pay you yet? Yes, YouTube pays me. I get my AdSense checks every month, and I've been getting them since August of 2016 or 17, I'm not sure, but I've been getting my checks for well over a year now. So every single month I get a YouTube check. Would you recommend that one separates their professional identity career from their YouTube and social media career? Absolutely, especially if you are working at the bank and you are fashion, say for instance a fashion blogger, or you are a food blogger and you're working in the manufacturing environment or steel environment, for instance. Like, it's so different, and you don't ever want people to say, now this is advice that I've learned, people to ever say that you are distracted at work because of your side hustle or what you do outside of work or your social media jobs, you know. So yes, I would suggest that, but if it's in line, if you are working in the fashion industry and you are a fashion blogger, then yeah, sure, they'll probably understand. If you've got fashion events to attend, if you've got fashion week, you know, to attend every single show, I'm sure they'll be more than understanding, because it's right up your alley anyway in terms of your career. So if it's not in line and it's two different things, then don't separate the two, separate them. What are the pros and cons of being in corporate? So I'll start with corporate, because then you're asking about YouTube as well. The pros and cons of being in corporate. The pros: you're getting a check every single month, a good one hopefully. You are stable in life just because you've got order. There's order every day. You're waking up, you're going to work, and you have the possibility of being fulfilled where you are, if that's your space. Like, you want to be in property, commercial property like I was, and you really love it and you're seeing growth in, then yes, there's definitely pros. The biggest con of being in corporate is the fact that you are pushing someone else's vision and not your own. That's my personal one. And that you are stuck in a schedule for however long you're working for that organization, unless if they are flexible and you can work from a coffee shop today, you can work from home tomorrow, you don't have to work namhlanje, that kind of thing. So depending on how flexible they are, but most organizations need you to show up every single day. So that's the biggest con for me, just and not having the flexibility of sharing ideas and people buying into some of the ideas that you may have that may actually turn that organization around. What are the pros and cons of being a full-time YouTuber? Which do I prefer? So I obviously prefer YouTube because that's why I quit. Pros: I manage my own time, I set my own goals, I set my own financial targets, even though, you know, the con is I don't necessarily always reach my financial targets. I'm not getting a stable salary every month, and I am liable for producing content for you guys. And the other con is obviously maybe any negativity in this environment, possibly, you know, burning bridges with friends if anything goes wrong, Lord forbid. So yeah, I don't think there's many. There are definitely a lot of cons, but I see, I'm very comfortable here. I definitely prefer YouTube over corporate any day. Oh, this is so sweet. I'm just excited for the fire content you about to create. Thank you. Can you give tips on time management? Prioritize. That's the key to time management. How was it studying at UWC? Did you stay at res? Was it your first option? Would you take your son there? Okay, how was it studying there? I loved Ibush. Besides being part of the cool kids group and stuff like that, I really loved studying there. Did I stay at res? No, because I live 15 minutes away from the university. My home is in Cape Town, for those of you who don't know. Was it my first option? No, it wasn't. I will not mention what was my first option. Would you take my son? Would you take your son there? Yes, I definitely would, if he wanted a law degree or a degree in finance in particular. Those are the only two degrees I believe I'd take my son there for. The others, he can go to any other university, it's fine. Alrighty honeys, I think that is it for this Q&A. It is a jam-packed Q&A, and I certainly hope that I answered most of your questions. At least most of them were like sort of very common, asked in different ways, but kind of looking for the same answers. So there you have it. Those are all my answers. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Give it a massive thumbs up if you did. Of course, comment down below and let me know if I answered your question. And lastly, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I love you guys so much, and I do hope you see the difference in the quality of this video, because I do. I love you guys so much. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Bye.